Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Rugged X ZoomCast. Today, we've got the man himself from Gunwerks, the CEO, Aaron Davidson. What's happening?
You know what? I'm excited to be here. It is a spring day in Wyoming, and we're itching to get out and do stuff. And it's time to start shooting and practicing and getting ready for this fall. So it's happening here in Wyoming.
Hey, first of all, congratulations on moving into the new facility. How's all that going?
It is a work in progress. So we're just wrapped up a new 45,000 square foot manufacturing facility on the build. We're in kind of that just final completion stage of buttoning out all the little details to make it perfect before we start dropping some machines. We've got a couple big weeks ahead of us.
Well, it's probably a good time to be doing it since everything's kind of on hold at the moment. Although I think you guys and Cody are getting to get out and do something constructive with yourselves, aren't you?
You know, we just haven't been affected by the, first of all, the shutdown type behaviors, the cautionary behaviors that have been recommended because we're an essential business. We're a firearms manufacturing company.
Yeah.
Essential, right? So, so we've actually had some of our biggest months of all time, just in terms of production and new products, new product launches, preparation for a few big changes like this move. So we're going full out.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of new product releases, I've been waiting and waiting. You finally made the announcement a couple weeks ago. You're letting everybody now buy the Gunwerks Skuhl.
That's correct.
A Skuhl, my favorite rifle in the whole world. Been using it for the last, more than a year and a half, I guess, doing some experimental hunting with it. You've been out hunting with it as well, I know, and it's been incredible. But tell everybody what's going on with the release of the Skuhl.
So it's kind of interesting. We're pretty small, young company, still trying to figure out how we do new product launches. You know, in the case of the Skuhl, you've had one of these rifles, and you could say for testing or for pre-launch or whatever, but it's taken us a while to dial in on it. And on the flip side, you know, we've got some other new products where we haven't even shipped one and we're ready to launch it. So sometimes it's right away and sometimes it's late. In the case of the Skuhl, what we've focused on since we launched one with you was making sure that we had the right, optics package, making sure we had the right finishes, dialing in on the stock finishes and stuff. So that stock right there is actually a standard Gunwerks, black on carbon finish, and that thing's pretty awesome. We've actually settled on the launch with kind of a hybrid carbon fiber matrix, which looks like a wood grain mixed with some carbon fiber. Really, really awesome. So a lot of work went into kind of the finish package for that. And then just doing the due diligence on the other caliber offerings. You're running a 375, we're doing 416, we're doing a 338 Ultra as well for those guys that want to just go chase big bears. So
all great calibers, by the way. I mean, I love all those.
Yeah, no, it's been great. We have kind of let a few in the know with the product, like yourself, to let you get out in the field, get using it. We've used it on some hunts that we've done, and a few of our top customers have had access to a couple of the early models. Man, that's a great looking buffalo. Look at that thing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's one of my first ones with the Skuhl, and what a great sweep and lots of mass. But in all honesty, I'm a huge 375 fan anyhow, which is no secret. But that 375 Ruger in this Skuhl setup this past season, we had, we got 7 Cape Buffalo this year with it. Had a great time with, let me see if I can pull this up. We also got in an elephant hunt, which was incredible. Here, let's see if we can see this. Now, this is a 375, keep in mind. I'd say that did the trick, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee,
that's pretty cool.
I like the Skuhl. Just saying, In your hunting this season with the Skuhl, you shot a buffalo as well, right?
Yeah, I've been to Africa quite a few times. We've had a great time taking clients down and doing some call them long range safaris with John X. Really high end operation, really great set of PHs that understand shooting and wind calls and all those aspects that kind of help you do successful one-shot kill type approaches. And so our guys go down, they get lots of experience in shooting, get an awesome taste for Africa. And I've been doing that every year. I just haven't had a chance to do the other types of Africa hunts, the buffalo and whatnot. So last year was my first time I've been able to chase a buffalo. It was great. It was a good experience.
Well, speaking of buffalo, which this has nothing to do with buffalo, this is a bear that we were able to take in Russia with the 375 also, with the skull. And here's a better shot of him. You can sometimes make pictures look big of bears, but look at the size of that bear when he's in doubt. I mean, you can't pose him any better than that. That's me at the back of it. But one-shot kill with that, with the skull. I mean, I'm loving it. Hold on here a second.
You look at most of the rifles we build. I mean, we're all Western big game hunters, right? So we're elk and deer and sheep, that kind of stuff. And most of the guns that we've built have been for that type of application. A lot of mountain hunting, lighter weight calibers, or sevens. Maybe we dip into a 30 cal. Lots of 6.5s. When you turn over the kind of that requirement into something that's going to kill you, a bear or a buffalo, where you could have close shots, you need significantly different types of terminal performance characteristics of the cartridges, so different cartridges, and you plugged all that into the mix. It's like, man, you almost need to tweak the gun just a little bit. Let's make it handle and balance a little differently. Recoil management's the same, but optics wise, optics are different.
Sure.
But at the same time, we have a hard time giving up the ability to shoot far. So our whole point with this Skull is a rifle configuration that has the right cartridges for these big dangerous animals. But at the same time, let's do the ballistics. Let's make sure the bullet selection is right, and let's keep them capable at 500 or 600 yards, so that you can have a multi-purpose cartridge or rifle combination in Africa, or you're hunting bears in Alaska. I've had that bear situation where we were shooting at 50 feet, and on the same hunt we shot a big bear at 450 yards. And so having that versatility is a pretty big deal, I think, in these hunting situations.
Well, and also from a dangerous game standpoint, like we do, it's about dependability too. Confidence in the rifle, knowing that the action is great and smooth. And also that recoil design that you've got built into these skulls, it's the lightest shooting 375 that I've ever shot. And that in itself is worth it. And I'm not shooting a muzzle brake on it either. I shoot mine without it. They come with a muzzle brake. You can have that as well. But I mean, it's a huge, huge difference. So just in the whole design and dependability and all that. And the other thing about the long range too, like you're talking about the bears, is lots of times your first shot is 75 yards or 50 yards, but after he's taken off because you didn't quite do your job right, the guy pulling the trigger isn't necessarily, I mean, not me, but other people who might not hit it correctly. The next shot might be at 250 yards or 300 yards, and you need to know that when you pull the trigger, that firearm is capable of doing what it's supposed to do. So And
so
learning,
all this, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say all the same long range ballistics efforts apply. We have to do data validation. We have to shoot. We have to build custom turrets. All that same effort applies on a big cartridge as it does on the long range stuff that we do.
Yeah. Hey, and real quick too, before I forget, if anybody is looking to tune up their shooting ability, last year I went and attended the Gunwerks Shooting School, and it was by far the best thing I ever did. I just wish I would have done it 15, 20 years ago. The little things that I learned that have made such a huge difference in my shooting has been incredible. And it's well worth going. You spend a few days with pros that show you all kinds of stuff. We've got a YouTube video about our experience there, which shows it. And I know you've got a lot of it on the Gunwerks YouTube channel as well, but it's really worthwhile to do. And you can go down there, you can pick up your Gunwerks rifle, get it tuned up while you're there. Of course, it's ready to go out of the box, but there's a lot of things you can learn. You can teach an old dog new tricks, is what I found. Oh, the guy that was with me was an old guy. You know what I mean? So, but they really, it's all professional bench here. You can see here, this is a 6.5, I believe that, we were shooting that day, and 1,400 yard shots, 1,148 yards. I hit the plate 13 out of 14 times. I mean, just a plate this big. So that's really saying something after they've showed you. I think I hit it once the first time I tried it till
The truth is long range shootings, especially in that type of environment, is pretty easy. Where what the trick is when you're out in the field on your own, and can you still reproduce that, or do you know where your personal limit is? And I think that one of our major goals with the course is to give you all the foundational knowledge so that you can go out on your own and you can build your own capabilities. Things like our wind bracketing techniques, or understanding, terminal performance limitations, kind of where those limits are, and then kind of how to measure and determine what your limits are, and how to push those boundaries and make them further and further. So,
hey, did I hear, while I've got you here, did I hear through the grapevine that there's a new Gunwerks pistol coming out?
man, there's always something new coming out. It's just sometimes they take way longer to bring than others. So we've got this really cool program that's fun. You look at our rifle systems, we've got 3 main stock platforms we build on. We've got the Verdict, the Magnus, and the Climber. And on the Magnus, we actually do a muzzleloader version of that. And the Verdict's ELR precision rifle, but our main 2 hunting rifles are the Climber and the Magnus. And you can build maybe 4 billion combinations between color and scope and ballistic configuration, et cetera, et cetera. It's crazy how many options there are. But at the same time, like our building and our selling, it's limited to that engineered set of products that we've created.
Sure.
And so we like to color outside the lines. We like to do things that are unique. And so we stood up a program called Skunkwerks. And that's kind of like our little R&D test. Hey, this is a really cool configuration. Let's go build one of those and see how it works. And when we stumble on something we think's really cool, man, we have to build a run of them. We'll do 25 or 50 or 100 of a limited run of this item. And so last year I was preparing for a muskox in Alaska. I drew a tag, and so I'm thinking, okay, I got all this mobilization. We got to fly in, and you know what it's like to travel with camera gear and hunting gear, and you get on these small planes, and it's remote, and there's weight restrictions, and a huge rifle case is sometimes a pretty big burden. And I kind of studied what our shot distances were likely to be on the muskox, and I got to thinking, you know what? I'll bet I could get away with a pistol. And the whole point, I'm just thinking, I want it to drop in my smaller Pelican case, and I can put all my gear in here and throw that pistol in there and not have this whole extra rifle case.
Sure.
And so I got scheming, and I actually turned my 20-year-old son on it, and he loves those kind of projects. And so he's like, okay, well, there's this little chassis over here, and we do this buttstock, and we do this, and we do this barrel. And so we put one together, a prototype, and I took it up there, and again, 40 yards, 50 yards on a muskox, they sit there and point at you, and you just kind of skirt around, and they're there on their defensive posture, and you wait for the right one to clear, and you take him.
Isn't that a great adventure, though? Muskox is one of the coolest things there is to do.
It is a travel adventure.
Yeah.
It was a travel adventure for sure. And it worked just right. And that product, we said, you know what? This is really cool. This is one of those things that has to happen for Skunkwerks. So we were putting it together, and I passed a picture around to my sales team and creative team, and they looked at it, and the one gal's like, man, that looks just like Han Solo's blaster. So that's what we named it. We named it the BlastR, and today's May the 4th. So it's Star Wars Day. We're like, we got to launch it on Star Wars Day. So it's out today. May the 4th be with you is our tagline.
Nice. I like it. Well, and we got the whole universe thing going on here with the
cool.
Star
Very
Wars.
cool. Very nice.
Go with the Force, Luke. The Force be with you. Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to shoot that. So what calibers can you get it in?
We're just doing the 6.5 Creedmoor. And depending on what your application is, we'll just be real careful with the bullet selection. So if you do one of those expanding target bullets, it's an awesome varmint or shooter. If you go with something like on the muskox, I shot a solid copper bullet, and that thing was awesome. Great penetration, good terminal performance. So I think if you're chasing some hogs or something like that, you might go with a little different bullet selection. But it's shaping up to be maybe like the ultimate truck gun, like under your seat kind of truck gun. So
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to try it. Okay, now we do something on all of our ZoomCasts, and I get some questions that come in from fans that know that we're going to be talking. So this is what we call the fastest 5 questions. So no thinking, no, you just got to answer them because I'm going to throw them at you one after another, okay?
Okay.
You ready? There's 5 of them. Favorite caliber?
7mm.
Longest successful shot?
1450.
Nice. Elk or deer hunt?
Elk.
Any tattoos?
No.
Favorite animal to hunt?
I want to know who wondered if I had a tattoo. Last question. Sorry, what was that?
Favorite animal to hunt?
Sheep.
Yeah. Great. Well, I would have to agree with everything that you said on there, and no tattoos yet, but you know, you never know. I'm thinking about a Gunwerks tattoo, maybe right there. What do you think? Right on the old guns. That might be some serious sponsorship money though to get a tattoo with the Gunwerks logo right there.
We'll spring for the tat, that's for sure.
All right. Well, thanks a million for coming on. I know you're busy and you guys are doing the move-in and everything, but I wanted to talk to you about everything that's going on, and I'm glad you guys are all doing good back there. You know, I'm out in the Northwest in the Seattle area, and we're pretty much on complete lockdown. So because I believe that idle hands are the devil's workshop, I'm calling you today to have some fun. So stay tuned, everybody. We're going to be back again with another episode. But Aaron, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you soon.
It's always good. Thank you.
All right. How do we get out of here? Oh, I can't turn it off. I guess we have to keep